Hello everyone. Today's presentation will be social media for property managers. My name is Tim McNabb, Senior Strategist, Heartland Region for Tin Cans Unlimited LLC. Now, just to give you a little information about what I do and what my expertise is, I like to equate it to the circus coming to town. If we take a sign and paint "circus is coming to town," we call that advertising. We put that sign on the back of an elephant and walk him into town. We're doing promotion. We do publicity when we step on the mayor's azaleas. And of course, getting the mayor to comment on that's public relations. Sending clowns to the school and the sword swallower over by the local tavern, that's market segmentation. When we run the ticket booth, that's sales. And of course, when we coordinate the whole thing, now that's marketing. Tin Cans Unlimited LLC is a marketing firm. I'm the senior marketing strategist in the St. Louis Heartland region, and we're going to talk today about social media. As an overview about what we're going to discuss, we're going to define what social media actually is. We're going to talk about the various social media channels that are available. We're going to talk about integrating social media streams into your marketing. And we're also going to discuss social media strategies that specifically support property owners and managers. Now, just as an overview, we want to understand that social media is marketing. It is part of how you promote your business. It's how you advertise. It is you can do public relations. You can do customer service. The purpose of marketing, broadly speaking, is to communicate, demonstrate, and invite. We want to communicate our value proposition, what makes your business unique, what's your superpower, what makes you better than the other guy who's out there doing similar work to you, but of course not nearly as good. You need to demonstrate that you can deliver on your value proposition. And then finally, you want to invite people to engage with your business just a little bit further. It doesn't necessarily have to be a sale. They just need to become closer, move closer into your circle of influence. If we're specifically defining social media, it has a number of attributes. Social media has a number of things that it does, a number of ways that it works. First off, it's a community. It's all about the relationships within social media. You know, what are you doing when you are on Facebook? You're friending people. You're developing, or you're renewing, maintaining, or somehow you're creating relationships. It's about dialogue. The dialogue is both ways. It's a two-way conversation. It's not a one-way. Most advertising that we're used to thinking about is simply making a pitch to people, making a pitch to strangers. In this case, we're having a discussion and a dialogue. It's voluntary. The audience is not captive like it is when you're driving down the road listening to the radio or watching TV and your cable box is not equipped with TiVo. You actually have to hold the audience. The audience can decide to move on. Social media also needs to be providing some kind of value. If there is no value, there is not going to be any audience. It is both a visual and verbal media. So you have videos, photos, and text. Those are the sorts of content that you will be putting into your social media stream. The power of social media is that it's viral. People will voluntarily start sharing your message. But this is also a two-edged sword. They can cut you both ways. You can both get out positive messages, and also negative messages can get out there pretty quickly too. That means it's very important that if you're going to get into social media, you have to provide you need to be the type of firm that provides good customer service. Got to remember that social media is not a marathon, or rather, let me try that again. Social media is not a sprint, it's a marathon. You cannot really rush things. Social media will pay off, but it's going to take you some time. It's more like a garden than a factory. Social media, you just can't manufacture it. It has to be genuine. People can tell when you're not being genuine. There are a number of other attributes to social media channels and purposes to these attributes. Social media will allow you to support a community with common interests. You certainly can promote interaction with the audience. And you want to use it to drive users to your website. It's a very good tool for doing that. You can always use social media to communicate those value messages to an interested audience. It gives users tools to advocate on your behalf. It's also an excellent tool for maintaining top-of-mind awareness. Think about, if I say the word motorcycle, what pops into your head? Most people think Harley-Davidson. Well, it's because Harley-Davidson as a brand has maintained top-of-mind awareness in your mind, in your head. So they do that through a wide variety of, interestingly enough, social media, but it's not really social media online. It's clubs. People can get together and swap parts. They'll swap Harley-Davidson stuff. It's actually quite an interesting phenomenon. The big daddy of social media channels is going to be Facebook. It's the single largest social media network that's out there. I think that if all of its members were a country, it'd be one of the largest countries in the world. Facebook allows you to put both personal and business pages up on Facebook. And there's also the ability to target advertising. All those profile information that you filled out, those are all things by which you can present your pay-per-click advertising to specific types of audiences. So if you just wanted to reach out to people who went to a particular college, then you could have your targeted advertising only show up for people who had listed, say, Missouri University as being their alma mater. On Facebook, that has a number of components. These things change from time to time. Facebook is an organic thing, and it will, in annoying fashion, change from time to time. Those components is a custom URL. You have to have at least 25 people like your business page, and this is an example of a business page. 25 people like it, you can get a customized URL. So you can go facebook.com/ in this case, Hampton Gardens. You have a profile picture. It's important to note this. This is a branding opportunity. If you've got a strong logo or you are trying to brand your business, this is a place you want to brand it. This particular profile picture could be a lot taller than it is, as long as the image that you see, the logo and everything, is falling within that top quadrant, not really quadrant, more the top third of a much taller profile image, then you'll still have a nice profile picture, as we see here, that will have your brand. A wall post is where you put out a message there. The wall post can be any number of things. It can be a photo, it can be a link, it can be a video. The like button is part of the interaction of Facebook. The more people who like something, the more often they will comment on something, the more likely your message will kind of float to the top of all the posts that are within the people who like your page on their wall posts. That's the viral component of it. So when you have a Facebook page, you need to provide value, or at least get people commenting and liking what you're putting out there. That way, your posts will be showing up at a higher level within your followers, your page friends' walled feeds as well. Twitter is another social media channel. It's microblogging. There's only 140 characters. As we saw earlier with Facebook, you can put quite a bit of information there. Here you have to be a lot more circumspect. You have to be a lot more, well, maybe not circumspect, you have to be a lot more concise. That's the word I was looking for. With only 140 characters, it's really important that you're writing a headline. You can use it to make announcements. Within your announcement, you can certainly put a link using preferably a URL shortener that when you click on it, it'll go to your website. That's a great way to use Twitter. You can use Twitter to engage thought leaders. People who are on Twitter tend to be kind of ringleaders. They're the kind of folks who they'll get among their friends and say, hey, let's go do this. And then everybody says, oh, that's a great idea. So if you can reach a Twitter audience that's in your field, or the Twitter audience that is within the greater audience you want to reach, it's a very good thing to do because they tend to lead the pack. Among the Twitter components, you'll see it on a well-rounded Twitter presence. You'll have a profile picture. That's going to be another branding opportunity. Your Twitter handle should reflect your business. This is, in this case, it would be to find Tin Cans Unlimited. You would go to twitter.com/TinCansLLC. You want a customized background. When you put this background out, it's another branding opportunity. Of course, the tweet, 140 characters, and tweets have certain attributes within them. For instance, a hashtag. A hashtag is the # plus a word, a keyword, or a phrase. So in this case, or in an example case, if you're talking about rental property, you might use the hashtags. Rental property in St. Louis, you might use a hashtag #RentSTL. Now, RentSTL, if that kind of became popular, apartment hunters or property people who are looking for a place to live might start clicking on that hashtag, and then all of the tweets that related to that hashtag would then be available. The number of people who are following you or who are followers is also shown here. Just like any other social media channel, if you put out quality tweets about the topic that you are about the industry that you're in, you'll eventually get followers. But it takes time to get people to follow you. It'll be frustrating at first when you have 5 and then 7 the next week and then 11 the following week. It'll take time. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Another social media channel is YouTube. It's one of my favorite. It's a great YouTube. You should post short, meaningful videos up to your YouTube channel. These videos can then be embedded into a website or posted to Facebook, and you can tweet them. YouTube channel components. This fellow runs a property management business in California, I believe. There's going to be an annoying message from YouTube about privacy. Every YouTube channel has a name. Think about this one carefully. It's really hard to change. Well, I'm sorry, the channel name is not hard to change, but your YouTube ID is hard to change. Your profile image, this is a branding opportunity. The actual videos that are embedded, are not embedded rather, but are uploaded to YouTube. Each one has a title and a description. A little best practice tip I'm going to put in there for you is anytime you're writing a description for a YouTube video, what I do at the very first sentence, even before I write anything that is a description, I'll put the URL to the website that supports the marketing efforts for a particular firm. So in our case, if we were putting up a video from Tin Cans Unlimited, the first thing you would see is http://tincansunlimited.com. That way, when a person sees it, they can click on it and go straight to our website. Blogs are important social media channels, predominantly because they have comments. Now, a website and your blog should be a hub for all of your marketing efforts. Everything that you do in marketing can be validated in some way on the web if you set things up carefully. It's a library of content for all the other social media streams. When you tweet, you're tweeting out something coming from your blog. When you Facebook, you're Facebooking something from your blog. You can also have conversations. This is where conversions take place, not conversations. You can have conversations on your blog, of course, but it's actually talking about where conversions are taking place. Now, specifically, a conversion is when someone on the web does what you want them to do. They could buy something from you, in this case, give you a stack of silver-colored coin-like objects. But a conversion could be signing up for your email newsletter. A conversion could be submitting a contact form. It could be engaging in e-commerce if you have that type of a web presence where you're selling products. But predominantly for service providers, a conversion is going to be contacting the firm or further engagement. And again, it doesn't have to be closing the deal. It just needs to be getting closer to closing the deal to be a successful conversion. The components of a good website or blog are going to obviously have a header. This is a branding opportunity. You should brand everything as best you can. You're going to have navigation, very much like a website. In fact, most website content management systems like WordPress or Drupal or Joomla are going to be both have very strong blog components. They're also going to have very strong website components. Every blog post should have a title, obviously. The article itself should be 200 to 300 words. Doesn't really have to be longer than that. It just needs to be providing some kind of value, and it's really, you should not harp too much on your own business, but rather this is a place where you demonstrate that you can deliver on your value proposition. Had a little brain cramp there. This illustration is important because when you copy and paste the URL to your article into the Facebook page, this is a thumbnail that can't show up there. So again, this is another branding opportunity or a means of catching people's attention. You can certainly make comments on a blog if you choose. Most blog software will allow you to turn off the comment feature if you think that's appropriate. But again, if you have the comments turned on, this is a place where you can have that two-way conversation of social media. I will say this as well. If you're a business, the comments section is a place where people may develop a expectation that you'll respond to them. So if you are going to have your comments on your blog, you do need to have somebody in your customer relationship staff keep an eye on incoming comments. Another conversion is certainly an email sign-up, as alluded to earlier. Email newsletter is another fantastic social media that some people, you've heard some reports out there that young folks aren't using email so much, and I think to a large part, casual conversations are leaving email newsletters, casual conversations that one would have had in the past over email are now happening through short message service, through texting. But longer stuff, e-commerce, promotions, that sort of thing, people still want to receive email newsletters for longer form type communications, and that's where this kind of work comes in. It will extend the reach of your social media efforts by quite a bit once they've engaged with you on other forums. Once they've signed up, they're actually getting closer to the conversion that you want. It's really easy to monitor the results of your email newsletter, so you can fine-tune the messaging, you can fine-tune the time of day where your message will go out, because most email management tools are going to do a really good job of giving you feedback as to how people are engaging your newsletter. As I alluded to earlier, it is for audiences who are a little bit older, but when you're trying to get folks to do business, this is typically a good thing rather than a bad thing. Email newsletter, it will allow you to get messages sent out on schedule. If you have a blog post, that oftentimes that you will push out through your email newsletter, like put half the article in the email newsletter and then a link back to your website. That will allow people to kind of get a taste for what you're providing, and then if they want more, they can go to your web. Email recipients are pretty good converters. They'll convert on a regular basis. Most people who are receiving email newsletters are interested in what you have to offer, and that's why they will tend to be pretty good converters. The components of an email newsletter, this is a example of mine. That's my handsome mug you see right there, standing not too far from the arch. The header, again, is a branding opportunity. I guess given those are cayenne peppers from my backyard garden, I must have thought this article was pretty hot. We do have links to our other social media channels. This is an example of integrating your social media marketing. Things that are in Facebook may not necessarily be in the email newsletter. I have a LinkedIn account. We have a Twitter account. And Google+. I do have an account there, but I don't really use Google+ that much, so I left it out of the scope of this particular presentation, but that certainly is a social media channel. I like to link to articles within the newsletter, so if I had multiple articles, I want to put right at the top that if you click on one of those links, it'll take you down further into the newsletter. You have certainly the article, and again, you want to do 200 to 300 words, maybe 500 if you're a really interesting writer, but 200 to 300 usually is just plenty. Put an illustration there. Just if you're branding a professional service that requires engagement with sales folks, actually having a picture of the people that your customers will be interacting with is a really good idea, because it's kind of like an introduction. You want to link to other articles that are on your website. You see that we have also got the forward to a friend function. If you click on that, that'll actually end up going to somebody that you choose. So this is giving your customers tools to be your advocate. Other channels that are available, like LinkedIn and private community sites, we're going to talk about those. LinkedIn, it's a professional network. It skews more toward professional folks. Typically what you do on LinkedIn is you'll type in the last couple of jobs you may have had, and then it'll do a search and find people that also mention that. And if you know them, then you can send yourself an introduction. So those business colleagues will receive your messages. There's actually a place where you can post on a kind of like on a wall stream. I use it to find talent when I need a programmer for a particular type of software technology. I will do a search for that. I've had really good luck finding people who are talented and capable of doing the work that I needed. Some of the components of LinkedIn, there's obviously a profile image so people can say, oh, I remember that guy. Articles, those are being provided by LinkedIn. Often, I believe there's actually a way you can submit an article to LinkedIn for inclusion. You see here there's postings you can make. In this case, I was looking forward to a meeting with the Community Associations Institute. They were just very nice folks, and I was looking forward to working with them. Your profile is going to show up on LinkedIn. This is what most people will be seeing when they follow up to take a look at you on LinkedIn. There's recommendations. I like recommendations. I like to write them. I have been very fortunate. The people that I work with are usually very, very good. And so I've written a lot of recommendations, and I've gotten a lot of recommendations back. The connections I've made, pretty substantial, and glad to have them. A lot of the features you really need, though, are on the paid version. So there's a paid version of LinkedIn that allows you to send messages more directly. Right now, the messages are kind of indirect. LinkedIn tries to keep all the communication within their own system, and they don't really facilitate getting outside of that system on the free side. I will say this, though, there are a lot of people who are in various industries where you'll find user groups or industry groups in there. For instance, if you're into franchises, there's all kinds of franchise business groups on LinkedIn that kind of act like a community forum. I want to recommend that for those of you who feel so inclined, make sure you put a web page in your contact information. Usually when I find somebody and offer them some additional work, it's because I've clicked on their website and found more direct contact us information there. LinkedIn tends to hide that information unless you're a premium member, but if it's on your website, then people will be able to find you. People who are clever enough to do that are probably serious potential customers. Private community sites within social media. I'm afraid I don't have a fancy icon for one of those because they vary quite a bit. They are excellent for forging a tight-knit community that gives you a lot more control over what content is going on, what features are available. It can function both as a web page and a social network, like a little self-contained social network, in ways that are a little more extended than you'll find with say, just a WordPress blog or a Drupal blog or a Joomla blog. It's really good for groups with a critical mass. It takes a certain number of people to make a community site really hum. And so if you have some sort of a community already in place, this is a great way to start out with that kind of critical mass. Private community sites, I'm a woodworker, so I was taking a look at this one for Craig Jigs. Craig is a type of joinery tool. It's actually really cool if you're into that sort of thing. Note how similar this is with Facebook. It takes a lot of cues from Facebook, the features that are available there. It is a combination of website and social media platform, as I mentioned earlier. You can see members there. You can embed a video. You can have conversations going on with users. And of course, it's supporting other channels as part of that integrated marketing. Like any other type of marketing, social media is going to require a certain amount of an investment, and I want to touch on what those investments are going to be. And one of the investments is consistency. You're going to have to put the time in to consistently add to your social media stream. You want to make sure you include this in all your social media, you want to include social media in your other promotional efforts. Make sure you advertise you have a Facebook page, or you got a YouTube page, or follow us on Twitter. Anything you're doing on social media needs to be owned by someone. Someone needs to be accountable, and that needs to be part of their job, maybe even part of how they are reviewed. That way they have an incentive and a reason to do a good job. Most social media channels can be supported by multiple administrators, so the burden does not have to fall on just one person. But it does need to be monitored for customer service opportunities. If you just neglect it, if you're just pushing out and you're not listening, you're missing out on half of social media. If you do a good job of customer service on social media, you'll give people a reason to advocate on your behalf. You want to follow a strategy. Map out a strategy. Start out modest and maybe get more ambitious as you go along. But, plan your work, then work your plan. Now, there are a lot of things you can do with social media as a property manager. You can certainly promote available properties to tenants. You can nurture communities among existing tenants that'll make them less likely to want to leave. If they're closer to the people, friends that they have on your properties, you may actually be able to reduce your vacancy. It certainly is a place for customer service activity to go on. And you want to promote awareness of whatever you got going on. It's also a great way to reach out to new clients. Social media is. You get them to begin the engagement process, and you can move them along down your sales funnel until they become your customer. For instance, if we're going to promote available property, one of the things we could do on our website is post, say, a gallery of images of the vacant property, and then you can use Craigslist, Facebook, and Twitter to post information, point them to that page where people can explore your property and see what the offering is. You can always monitor incoming traffic to identify the most effective channel if you've got your website wired up with a tool like Google Analytics. You can use it to promote awareness. Regular email newsletters are a great way to stay in touch with prospects and your clients. You always want to provide meaningful information with email newsletters. You want to use that to help you maintain that top-of-mind awareness we talked about earlier. Certainly want to nurture community. Social media tools like Facebook will nurture community among residents. It'll allow you to keep the community informed of events and opportunities. And it's also an audience for local vendors. If you have an entire apartment complex of folks on your Facebook page, that'd be a great place where, say, a local pharmacy would offer to do deliveries to that apartment complex. As far as customer service, you always want to focus on with social media. They can interact through Facebook with your customer service representative staff. These response forms on a website will allow users to reach out, ask for help, ask questions. But again, you have to really keep an eye on those things and take advantage. When it comes to finding new customers, YouTube is another great tool, social media tool. A video that you put up that describes your value proposition even demonstrates it. So if you're a pest control company, you can certainly talk about how you handle pests. If you're whatever that value proposition happens to be, you can get testimonials from happy clients to go up on YouTube. It's always good to see a real person saying real things about your firm. Prospects will get to know your staff and principals of the company by seeing them online. It's like an introduction. It's like, I remember seeing you. It kind of softens the meet and greet opportunity that will hopefully follow later. And these are always something you can include in your social media stream. That's where you're getting content from about your business. Now, here's some questions that have come up about social media that we've heard in the past. What if someone says something bad about our company or property on our social media stream? Well, they already are. They're having conversations, and they are likely having conversations about your business, and so you do need to be engaged. The important thing is to be seen by other people in a conversation with somebody who's not happy with you. And, it's like any other argument you might see on the street. If you have one side being calm, collected, and professional, then everybody knows who the jerk is. And so it's just important that when you're engaging in these sort of conversations, even if with somebody who just can't be placated, just important, don't be a jerk, and people will understand, and you will deprive them of the power to make you look bad, because you're not going to be looking bad. Do you have to constantly update your social media streams? No, you really don't. There are ways to schedule additions to your social media streams. There's a great product out there called Hootsuite that you go to hootsuite.com, hoot as in hoot owl and suite as in a suite in a hotel. And you can use that tool to set up your social media streams where you can go in and schedule things out. I spend about 45 minutes on a full day's worth of social media for one of my clients when it's my turn to do it. So it doesn't have to be a constant thing. Google Plus, you know what? Google Plus is a perfectly good social media thing, but not a whole lot of people are really using it. And so I don't think it's low-hanging fruit for most businesses. So in conclusion, I want to let you know, when it comes to social media, it's not a fad. There is enormous potential, and candidly, most businesses are going to have to be engaged in it somehow. You're already part of the social media sphere. The question really is, who is controlling your message? If it's not you, then it's somebody else. If you're not engaged, then you are going to have no influence. If it's done well, social media can provide great benefit for your business, but it's a long haul play. It's not something you can just expect instantaneous results right away. Contact us, Tim McNabb at Tin Cans Unlimited. We provide communication strategies for a world without strings. We'd be more than happy to talk with anybody more about social media and how you can get your business up and running on this topic. And if you have any further questions, just shoot me an email or give me a phone call. Thank you very much for your kind attention, and we'll do it again soon.